Q&A period. We're so excited to have our guest speaker today. He is Chris Tyson. He's the president and CEO of Build Baton Rouge, which works to bring people and resources together to promote equitable investment, innovative development, and thriving communities across all of Baton Rouge. As CEO, Chris has led a team that has secured over $50 million in grants for transit-oriented, equitable, and redevelopment projects. Chris is currently on leave from his position as the Newman Trowbridge Distinguished Professor of Law at LSU. He has published numerous works, academic and editorial works that have appeared in the New York Times and the Harvard Journal on Racial and Ethnic Justice. He holds degrees in architecture, public policy, and law from Harvard University, the Howard Kennedy School, the Harvard Kennedy School, and Georgetown University. Please help me welcome Chris Tyson.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's good to be with you. Is the mic okay? Everyone can hear me? Good. Well, as you enjoy your lunch, I just want to share a bit about the activities and updates from your Redevelopment Authority and Land Bank. I represent Build Baton Rouge. We are the Redevelopment Authority and Land Bank for East Baton Rouge City Parish. And today I want to share with you some of our activities, a little bit about us and what we're doing, and some of what lies ahead. And I look forward to your questions and comments as I know we're all interested in what activities are happening in our city to move us forward. As you may know, we cover the entirety of East Baton Rouge Parish. We are a state entity established in state law, but we work closely with the city and the mayor's office. The mayor actually appoints 3 members of our 5-member governing board of commissioners. And so we work hand in hand with the city as they are working to address blight elimination, neighborhood revitalization, and coordinated land development. We know here that land development, neighborhood revitalization is connected to economic opportunity and economic development generally. We know that we want our city to look like the prosperous place that we know it is, and we want all of our residents to live in neighborhoods that reflect the best of our creativity, of our resources, and of our shared investment in a healthy and prosperous tomorrow. I took over this position in 2018, and we are a young redevelopment authority, just a little over a decade old. My predecessors, Gwen Hamilton and Walter Mansour, helped to build an organization that has seen a number of impacts throughout the city and has a lot more to do. You may be familiar with some of our work. Many of you have been to or are aware of Electric Depot on Government Street, the revitalization of our city's first power plant. That structure dates back to the early years of the 20th century and reminds us of our history, particularly in the mid-city neighborhood. It was redeveloped in 2018 into a mixed-use destination that includes housing, entertainment, and a number of other shops. And so if you haven't visited Electric Depot, we encourage you to do so. We're really proud of that development and think that it's a good model for what can be accomplished through partnerships for revitalization and redevelopment. Now, I'll go through a few other highlights of the work that we've done, and then I'll walk you through a few project updates that I think you'll find exciting, and I look forward to your questions on those. As you heard in the introduction, we have been involved in securing millions of dollars for redevelopment activities in the city parish. We like to focus on transit-oriented development, which means that we want to see development occur close to transit access assets like bike paths and public transit and other mobility services that serve the community. So CATS has been a partner with us, and we were proud to focus on a partnership with them around the Plank Road corridor that began in 2018 that has resulted in a federal grant of $15 million to support the state's first bus rapid transit system. You may not have heard of bus rapid transit. It is what many call rubber-tired tram, a system of buses that run efficiently on dedicated routes using technology to create a more efficient and effective transit service. Baton Rouge's first bus rapid transit system and the state's first bus rapid transit system will connect the neighborhoods along Plank Road through downtown all the way to the gates of LSU at Nicholson, bridging our north-south divide with a coordinated, uniform, and state-of-the-art transit experience. It was important for us to have the partnership with CATS to accomplish that, and we're really appreciative of the Mayor's Office, of the State Transportation Department of Transportation and Development, and so many other partners who worked to collaborate to bring that project together. That $15 million of federal grants is leveraging another $35 million for an over $50 million investment in the infrastructure of this city. A lot of it happening on Plank Road, where we know we have dilapidated infrastructure, where we know we have blight, and that investment will help to catalyze additional development that we have been working with community members and partners to advance. In that vein, we led the creation of the Plank Road Master Plan. That master plan is in implementation, and we've been excited to raise funds for that, most notably a $5 million 3-year grant from the J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation. Baton Rouge was one of 7 cities nationally to receive this award for work on Plank Road, and we're working with partners such as Metromorphosis and True Fund Financial, also always working with Mayor Broome under her leadership to deliver tangible results for North Baton Rouge along the Plank Road corridor. And I'm going to talk about a few of those projects. You also may have heard in 2019, we worked with the Housing Authority and the Mayor's Office again to secure a $30 million grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to implement redevelopment at our Ardendale neighborhood. Ardendale is the site, the 200-acre master plan development that Build Baton Rouge has been leading for over a decade now. The McKay Automotive Center, the Career Technical High School are 2 of the first implementations of that master plan, and the $30 million investment from HUD will allow us to expand upon that with over 500 units of affordable housing. The Housing Authority is our partner in that effort, and we look forward to advancing on that project as we move into 2022. We also have worked with the city parish to administer millions of dollars of federal grants received from HUD towards community development in this city. Mayor Broome inherited a challenge with her community development office, and she committed to turning that around and bringing that office into full compliance with HUD. And she enlisted Build Baton Rouge in that effort. And we've been proud to work alongside the Mayor's Office to turn that operation around, bringing Baton Rouge into full compliance with HUD and getting over $10 million of backlogged funds back into this community, addressing community development needs around blight and human services that are vitally important for our community, and that many other cities just like us deliver each and every day in their communities. So we're proud to support Mayor Broome's vision of more effective community development and to have served in that role. We have many partners that work with us in this work, as you've heard me mention CATS and others, but we're also proud of our partnership with the Capital Area Finance Authority. The Mortgage Authority for the region has supported our efforts since I took over in 2018 and before with grants and loans that have allowed us to actually move forward on many of the plans you've heard us tout. To date, the CAFA has delivered over $900,000 in grants and loans to help support our redevelopment activities. We could not advance on this work without a partnership like the one we have with CAFA. When you look at our resources, we are supported primarily by the general fund of the city parish. The mayor, when she came in 2016, delivered a vision of supporting redevelopment, particularly to address the disparities and gaps that we see in North Baton Rouge. And towards that effort, she stood up the Redevelopment Authority, allowing me and my staff members who are here with me today, 3 of them have joined us today, to begin doing this work, to wake up every day thinking about how to improve all of East Baton Rouge Parish, particularly those areas that we know have been historically left behind. The city's support, we believe, has been a worthwhile investment. And of the $2.6 million that the city parish has spent supporting redevelopment activities at Build Baton Rouge, the over $50 million that have been raised because of our ability to work with partners and collaborate towards those efforts represents an over 1,800% return on investment. This is not unique. Cities around the country, Atlanta, Portland, Boston, Cincinnati, other cities support their redevelopment authorities and land banks such that they can achieve these types of synergies and catalytic activities in areas that are most in need of development and resources to address historic disparities and to create a better quality of life for all of our region's citizens. What is redevelopment? It is a word that I use and sometimes people gloss over because it's not exactly clear what we do from day to day. And I don't know if the definition I'm going to share is going to give you a whole lot more clarity. I hope that it does. We do a lot. And there's a lot involved in redevelopment activities. This is highly interdisciplinary work, and it sits at the intersection of a number of disciplines, all of which are important for us to do our work well. Number one, this is about real estate development. We want to see neighborhoods transform, and that means construction, that means development, buildings and parks and homes and other things that signal to the community that we can see revitalization, that we can transform the built environment, and that we can create a higher quality of place. That also involves effective planning. We have to work with communities. We have to listen to communities. Do you know who knows best what we need? Our neighbors, our citizens, our partners on the ground who every day are working to advance change in their neighborhoods, in their little corner of Baton Rouge. There's not a square inch of this city that is disposable. Not a square inch. So planning is core to our work, and we enjoy working with a number of community partners to accomplish that. Public finance. In many of our most challenged neighborhoods, there's not investment activity happening. And so we have to look to leverage public resources, federal dollars, state dollars, tax credit programs, the whole gambit to catalyze development that otherwise is not happening. So public finance is core to what we do. Land banking and enforcement. We have a land bank. What is a land bank? The land bank is an entity, and Build Baton Rouge is your land bank, that takes distressed and abandoned and vacant property and works to put it back into commerce. There are a number of challenges with that, and I'll share some of those with you. But land banking is an essential component of any viable, worthwhile redevelopment plan. And so Build Baton Rouge's position as both a redevelopment authority and a land bank uniquely positions us to advance comprehensive community revitalization. Community engagement. I talked about working with our community members in our planning efforts. Well, community engagement is total for us. It is always working to be in the community, listening, and also working with a variety of partners on a variety of initiatives that are all tied to improving our community. And lastly, we work with our political leaders and we work with our policymakers to make sure that we are constantly pushing Baton Rouge to do more in regards to revitalizing its urban areas. I want to talk about a few of the initiatives we have underway before I receive some of your questions. I mentioned to you that we work with the mayor's office to deliver the community development programs under HUD. You may have heard about some of those programs. One of them that you've probably heard a lot about is our home rehabilitation program and roof reset program. Through HUD dollars that the mayor's office has, we administer a program that repairs homes for our qualifying residents, those who have a need, and we know that as we move through our community, there is substantial dilapidation in our housing stock. Many of our neighbors and citizens are living in substandard conditions, and these funds are specifically there to address that. To date, we have repaired over 179 roofs. There are about 15 roof projects underway at any given time. We look forward to delivering more. We initially received over 600 qualifying applications for that program. Monies are available in the mayor's office, and we will continue to work with the mayor's office administering that program and welcome any feedback, as we know many of our residents count on this vital service. I've mentioned to you our work in bringing the mayor's HUD community development program into full compliance, and that continues. Recently, our director of grants moved over to lead the mayor's office her grants program per the recommendation of HUD. So we continue to work with our partners at HUD to be responsive to their direction as to how they want to see Baton Rouge, again, move more into full compliance, and we applaud and salute Mayor Broom's commitment to doing so, as it is critically important for revitalizing our communities in Baton Rouge. I talked about land banking. Why are there so many blighted properties in our neighborhoods, and why does it seem so difficult to move the needle on that? Well, many of those answers lie with Louisiana property law and Louisiana title law. And we have been working with a number of partners, including the Baton Rouge Area Chamber of Commerce and partners across the state to advance this issue, to work with policymakers to bring about solutions. We were proud in 2019 to host the statewide title clearing symposium. There is a lot of work being done around the state to address title clearing, and we're a part of that, and we hope to continue to advance the state of policy in that regard. You've heard about the Plank Road Master Plan. We have a number of projects underway with that master plan. Again, through the generosity of the J.P. Morgan Chase Foundation and a number of other donors, including the Baton Rouge Area Foundation and many others, we are implementing projects. One of them you may have heard is a mixed-use development, over $10 million in value, that will bring an early child care center to the Plank Road corridor, 15 units of affordable housing, and the new offices of Build Baton Rouge. That is on vacant, blighted property that follows our model of taking a blighted property, working with public finance, working with other investors to bring about change. We look forward to sharing more with you about that project. Again, with partnerships, BREC has been a partner in our efforts along Plank Road, and they are working with us now to develop a community park, an urban infill park on vacant and blighted property that sits in our land bank. Again, another improvement for the Plank Road corridor. Another partner, you'll get tired of hearing me talk about partnerships. We do none of this alone. The library system is considering an update and possible relocation of the Delmont branch to the Plank Road corridor adjacent to a transit site. They've held public meetings about this. It is something their board has not yet made a decision on, but we appreciate their interest and willingness to work with the master plan, and they've talked to a number of community residents, and we hope that we'll continue to work together to bring that type of revitalization opportunity to the Plank Road corridor. I've talked to you about our work at Ardendale. I should also mention that we are working with the Scotlandville Community Development Corporation and have been working with them under the leadership of community stalwart Pat LaDuff to advance their plans for the Scotlandville area, including a parcel of property on Scenic Highway that sits in our land bank, which through the generosity and leadership of Senator Cleo Fields, we have secured funding to pursue development of that property for possible grocery and other mixed use development. So we're really excited about that partnership as well. And so many things going on at Build Baton Rouge. I encourage you to visit us on our website, buildbatonrouge.org, to follow us across all of social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. If I left it, and we're not on TikTok yet, but follow us at Build Baton Rouge to learn more about our updates and to keep up with our progress. We have a mailing list if you'd like to be on that, info@buildbatonrouge.org. You can email. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this update. We are very proud to lead your redevelopment authority and land bank. We believe this work is vital to the future of our parish, no matter where you live in East Baton Rouge Parish. We know, as I said, there's not a square inch of this city and this parish that is disposable. All of it is worthy of the best of our political will, our commitment, our resources, and our vision for a brighter tomorrow. I'm happy to receive questions. Thank you. Yes.
Where are you in the process with getting that Plank Road transit system up? I know it was announced a couple of years ago, so when are people going to be able to start getting on those buses?
Absolutely. So we worked with the Capital Area Transit System and the Mayor's Office starting in 2018 to create the plan that supported the grant application to the federal government, which yielded the $15 million grant and now the $50 million project. That project is now being led by the Capital Area Transit System. They are in the design phase of the project. We expect that to deliver in 2023 and that the next year will be spent confirming the design, working with the community, and we think that you'll be seeing updates on the particulars of the route, of the stations, how the buses will go, and all of the other assets connected to that.
And same question about that development of your new offices and the child care. Where is that being built right now? And did the pandemic with the lumber shortage and everything, did that really impact that too?
It is not being built right now, yes to everything else you just asked. So that project has been a labor of 2 years for us. It is financed with new market tax credits, and we're excited to have partners around the country invested in this project. We are actually in the construction bid phase right now after having received, the inflation or experienced the inflation in construction pricing earlier this year. Our hope is to close on the financing before the end of the year and hopefully break ground in the first quarter of 2022. Yes.
I'm a North Baton Rouge. That's where I was raised and everything, a lot to do. I also am telling you for information, I was in the mayor's office 16 years as citizen service director. So we worked a lot with blight, neighborhood improvement, and I'm trying to remember the name. I worked on a committee with Boo Thomas.
Yes.
When it was redeveloped. I couldn't think of the name
yes.
ago. I got sometimes, that's just like our just sometimes. But the blight, just before the pandemic, I served on a blight committee. We go downtown one thing we talked, Carol Wick, I think, was running it. And they were getting ahead a little bit. Now, Ida comes along, and I'm sure that right now is just compounded what y'all doing right now with blight. What's some of the plans right now to deal with blight? What's some of your ideas that maybe, we tried everything, citizen service, we could, we made sure we had a grass cutting program. We made sure we had tear housing down, we had a waiting list, and there's a lot of things, and it's still going on, and I'm sure. All the development in North Baton Rouge, you call me, while I walk the street. Yeah. That's our home. We lost redemptors, but we get some things back.
Yeah.
You just, with a great job you're doing, and about a great performance, talking about what's going on. But
thank you.
Just answer my question about blight.
There are a number of things underway, and I think there are a number of things we need to focus more on with regards to blight. I know the mayor has increased funding for demolitions and code enforcement as part of her blight initiative, and certainly we are a part of those efforts in thinking about I call the life cycle of vacant property, right? Taking it from being vacant and being a problem to being an asset that can help with neighborhood revitalization. I think the biggest issue that we have to deal with in Louisiana, when we look at our peer organizations around the country who have much greater success with their land banking efforts, our title clearing laws are a hindrance. And that's something, again, in 2019, we worked with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber of Commerce to pass legislation to clarify notice requirements for adjudicated property owners. But there's a lot more we have to do to clear up some of the legal red tape, if you will, to allow us to put these properties back into commerce and create opportunities for neighborhood developers who are looking to get a loan and looking to build affordable housing or to revitalize vacant and distressed structures, but run into title clearance problems. That we have to continue to work with partners to clarify.
What always been.
It is the challenge, and again, this isn't a
long time. Not only that, you got to educate the judges, and they got to make decisions, change the way they do court.
Absolutely. So this isn't just a Baton Rouge issue. It's a New Orleans issue. It's a Lafayette issue. It's a Shreveport issue, which is why, as I mentioned, we hosted a statewide title clearing symposium in 2019. That was in the before times. So we hope as we kind of are still in this readjustment phase.
Do you have a special group? Do you have a special group working just on that broad base? I'm talking about life.
Yeah, there is a group called Housing Louisiana that is based out of New Orleans that is leading a lot of housing advocacy efforts, which are inevitably concerned with blight, and that is probably the biggest organized effort in the state. I should also mention that it wasn't in my report, but certainly worthy of note. We've been working with Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance and again the mayor's office to lead the first ever comprehensive housing study for East Baton Rouge Parish. If you can imagine, we've never done a census and comprehensive study of our housing stock. That is wrapping up, and we've been working with, again, Mid-City Redevelopment Alliance and a host of others to advance that work. And we look for that information to really give us data around the scope and the nature of blight, and also give us some best practice models of how other cities, peer cities, are addressing those issues. Thank you. Yes.
You talked about this a little bit, but my understanding was that initially the mayor's plan was to kind of fold the Office of Community Development into Build Baton Rouge, and it ended up deciding that wasn't, and you alluded to this, that wasn't the best idea. Could you talk a little bit more about, first of all, the implications for the work that you're doing of that decision? For example, whether it affects your ability to get HUD dollars and use HUD dollars. And it sounded like you also said that there's more work to be done to make sure the city parish is in HUD's good graces. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about the work that needs to be done on the HUD front.
Absolutely. So Mayor Broome, as I mentioned, inherited a challenge. You know, Baton Rouge was one of the most non-compliant jurisdictions in the HUD recipients in the country. So Mayor Broome took that on and saw redevelopment as a core part of addressing that issue in our ability to marry how we deploy HUD community development dollars with how we do redevelopment planning. And we worked closely with HUD and have worked closely with them over the last 4 years under the mayor's leadership to address the issues that they have cited, to make sure that we have a workout plan as they requested of us, and that we are actually spending down the dollars. If you can imagine, HUD gives dollars to cities all around the country, and those cities have to spend those dollars or HUD will take them back. They will assume you don't need them if you don't spend them. And so that is the challenge that Mayor Broome led. As we have worked with HUD and we have followed their direction, they have wanted to see the Office of Community Development staffed back up. And so the person leading federal grants under Build Baton Rouge moved over to lead that effort. She has been the primary contact with HUD over the last 4 years, and that made the most sense. So everything that I think the mayor is doing and us in partnership is following HUD's direction, following HUD's best practices, and making sure that the city parish is in the best position to get those funds on the street, in the community, and in the hands of those community partners who can deliver them. That work is always ongoing. We were successful with the mayor's office in securing a $3 million grant last year for lead abatement. And we know we have lead hazards in homes. Baton Rouge, unlike a number of other cities, hadn't yet received some of the HUD funding designated for that purpose. So again, working with the mayor's office, we were able to secure $3 million in that. You know that we've had CARES Act funding and rental assistance funding that Build Baton Rouge has worked with the mayor's office in delivering. And you know, that work is collaborative. Some of those functions exist in the mayor's office. Some of those functions exist in Build Baton Rouge. How the mayor determines that, not to speak for her, but is to say that it is in accord with HUD's, kind of active and ongoing partnership and advisement, which is the best way we think to move forward and make sure that we're in full compliance.
In a practical sense, does it make any difference in terms of bringing down HUD dollars and then implementing those dollars, or is it more just sort of a bureaucratic, org chart that HUD wants to see?
It is more of the latter. Baton Rouge is what you call an entitlement jurisdiction, which means that it is entitled to receive an allocation of community development funding from HUD every year, provided obviously that we are in compliance with the spending of those dollars. So that funding includes administrative support to administer those programs, if you will. So whether or not those functions are managed at Build Baton Rouge or whether they are managed at the mayor's office, the funds for administration pay for those services. So it doesn't impact our redevelopment activities, and those are funds that cannot be used for any other purpose than to deliver the community development services. So the good thing about HUD funding is that it kind of takes care of itself, right? We receive those funds, and there is funding for the administrative portion of delivering those funds, and there are project dollars to actually, fund the work that the award is for. I hope that's clear.
I think it does. I mean,
Yeah.
Does HUD require for using those dollars, does it need to be in the city parish government? I'm just wondering why the transition that the mayor had originally planned on didn't work out.
Yeah. So the mayor always had an Office of Community Development. That did not go away. She's always had staff for the Office of Community Development. We had more of the staff delivering those funds at Build Baton Rouge. HUD has advised us that they would like to see more of the staff on the city side, since the city is the entitlement recipient. Our role has simply been as an administrator, as a contractor, if you will. One of the things that we have found is that as we look to work with the city to deploy those funds into projects that our planning efforts and our redevelopment efforts with the community have identified as a priority, that we don't want there to be any conflict of interest with our role as administrator and our role as project sponsor, if you will. And that, again, is following the direction of HUD and following the vision that the mayor has set out, which still is very much in support of redevelopment and the work of Build Baton Rouge, and also in support of having a compliant and effective and efficient Office of Community Development, which, again, has always been there. So, yeah. Yes.
I'm glad to hear about you being so positive about the Delmont Library. I've been there on numerous occasions and had focus groups there. What can the public do to back you on that? Because I think that's really a wonderful idea. And my second question is regarding the Scotlandville and the grocery store. How close are they to actually getting funding and starting the grocery store?
Absolutely. Taking your first question with the library, again, I want to emphasize that the library board has not made a decision on that project, but we have been working with the library board under their leadership to host community forums and to share information in the Plank Road Master Plan. If you've looked at the master plan, there are development plans featured there with renderings for property that we own at the corner of Plank and Mohegan. And we're very excited about that. There's a planned bus rapid transit stop there, and the ability to tie in transit with development there was always it was well received by the community and championed by them, and we put that in the master plan. We were working with the library, who was reviewing this, and they've now held public meetings, and it's I think going to go before their board ultimately. We would be a development partner there. They would purchase the property from us if they're so inclined, and then that they would pursue their own schedule for constructing and developing a library on that site if they so choose to. So that is how that works. That's our partnership. But I couldn't say more about the library as just an incredible visionary partner, understanding the role of libraries as community anchors. What we heard from the Plank Road community was the neighborhoods along Plank Road is that they need places to gather, they need places to utilize technology. That area is the source of our biggest digital divide. The Delmont branch is one of the most used branches in the library system, and yet it has one of the smallest parking lots. Most people are biking and walking to the Delmont branch. That's some of the information we learned. Again, we salute the library's willingness to partner with us and to consider the Plank Road Master Plan. And I think if this is something you agree with, to let the library system know as their board and staff continue to consider that going forward. With regards to Scotlandville, As you know, if you've heard from our community leader, Pat LaDuff, they have been working on plans for grocery and mixed-use development in Scotlandville for over a decade. And Pat has been a tireless supporter of that. We are proud to partner with them and stand beside them as they advance those plans. We have control over a large parcel of acreage. One of the first things I did when I came on in 2018 is work to clear title to that property. So we've secured clear title to that property. It's ready for development. Again, Senator Fields has earmarked monies in the last legislative session to support some of the development activities. Those monies are to come to Build Baton Rouge on behalf of the Scotlandville CDC. That work is early in the process, but we hope to have updates on it going forward. Again, all of this is partnerships. All of this is about collaboration, and we're really proud to stand with the Scotlandville CDC as they advance that work.
Well, thank you, Chris. We're out of time, but he will be here to answer
Okay.
any questions you have.
Okay. Thank you.
Who's up next?
Good job. I'm so glad to hear about the library because I remember when there was a library at Delmont and Winburn and Plank Road.
Yeah.
And we used to walk to the library. Like you say, we didn't have.
Yeah, and that's
I mean,
that
you
branch
can,
is.
I mean, you can walk to Delmont
Yeah.
because people walk to the
Yeah.
shopping center, but
But
it's a long hike.
it's a long hike, and putting it on the corridor by the transit stop, in the new
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah, so
So
I'm
we're-
excited about
yeah.
that. I